Okay,
Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. We're grateful that you can join us for another week.
we certainly are.
And we're excited today. We have Judy Wilkins-Smith on with us. She's a world-renowned family patterns, systematic work, and constellations expert, author, motivational speaker, and founder of System Dynamics for Individuals and Organizations. She's also written two books, Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint and The Hidden Power in Your DNA. So we're super excited. Welcome, Judy, to our podcast.
It's lovely to be with you.
So, can you tell us a little bit about how you kind of got onto this path of writing and speaking and just all this interesting stuff that you do?
In a very crazy way, my father was killed, and it was either write books or go crazy. So I decided that writing books was probably a better option. And while I was writing books, I came across systemic work and started doing that for individuals. And then people asked me, could I do that for organizations as well? And of course, yes, because organizations are made up out of people, are they not? And so studied a little bit of that, and then discovered that with a lot of people who do this kind of work, what they do is focus on what is the family pattern, what is it causing? Okay, now you've got the answer. But for me, I kept hearing people say, okay, and then what? And so what happened was I began to play in the and then what? And that's what brought me here.
That's
Beautiful.
wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, I just started your Hidden Power in Your DNA book, and so far it's very interesting to me because I love genealogy and hearing about that, and I love how it's talking about you can potentially change things even though you have this lineage behind you. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, you can absolutely change it. So you don't just inherit your physical DNA, you also inherit your emotional DNA, your patterns of thoughts, feelings, and actions. And we inherit those in a couple of ways. One, epigenetically, if there's a strong enough event with a sustained emotion that can either be positive or negative, but that's inflated, what we notice is that creates an imprint that then becomes the blueprint for generations of repetition. It also creates an imprint on your DNA and affects the way that it is or isn't expressed. So that's really important. And then, of course, the other way is mom told me that love of money is the root of all evil. Well, her mom told her, and her mom's mom told her so. That's the truth. No, it's not. So what happens is when the brain tells the body a story that the body can believe, that becomes our truth. But it's literally just our truth. It's not the truth. And so with thoughts, feelings, and actions, we can rewire the brain and then the body, one thought, feeling, and action at a time. And suddenly we're thinking new thoughts, feeling new feelings, and we have a completely different outcome because we're no longer relitigating the lives of our ancestors. We're absolutely present. And so our future begins to change.
I love that. I liked in the book where you were talking about, and it made me kind of ponder, but where you were talking about the cat and when, like you were just saying there, and somebody had a bad experience with a cat. And so then they created that fear. And if they don't have the family coming in and saying, it's okay, like, look at, here's a nice, gentle cat. And, it doesn't switch that DNA to be able to say, oh, cats are nice. Instead, they think, cats are evil and please keep them away from me. So, which
Yeah.
made me think because I have such a great fear of snakes, um,
Oh,
is yeah, is I was like, I wonder if I don't remember any kind of experience when I was young with them. So I just was like, I wonder if that's like something either from a past life, a lineage, or something, or if that's just a fear I developed in.
well, no, it could be either of those, but it could also be a meta pattern because we have meta patterns as well. The ways that we interact with money are often based on meta patterns. Love of money is the root of all evil. Money doesn't grow on trees. That's a very global kind of pattern. And because in the case of the snake, think back, way, way, way back. if a snake bit you, you died. Well, I suppose in some cases it's still like that, but we were taught from small that
Yeah.
snakes were not good things. So we have that meta pattern that we've embodied as the truth.
Yeah, okay. So then how, if you have these fears or these patterns, then how do you work on changing them and shifting?
Okay, so the way that you would work on changing and shifting patterns is to have a look at, write down all your thoughts, all your feelings, and all your actions around snakes. When did that start for you? How old were you? What was happening in your life at the time? What did you make that mean about you? What did you make it mean about others? And then how would you like it to be? I would love to be easy around snakes. I would like to be able to identify the poisonous ones or the venomous and the non-venomous ones. And I'd really like to be able to pretty much sit and go, here, kitty, kitty, but with a snake. And so if you can sort of, start thinking about it really differently, well, then I don't necessarily want to be scared of a snake. So I'm going to learn to be really good at what snakes are venomous and what are not. I'm going to look at how snakes like to be handled. I'm going to start investing in going somewhere where they would teach me that. And lo and behold, over a period of time, suddenly I'm the snake handler.
Right. I don't want to be a snake handler, but
Not
yes.
me either.
But yeah, I can see that, and I can see how that would work, with people that have this fear of money, or people that, are not necessarily doing the best health things for themselves,
Right.
of switching those to be able to look into that.
Yeah, and so money is one of my favorite things to teach about because, of course, you also inherit your money DNA. And so it's I can tell you why you can or can't, will or won't have money based on your lineage, either in reaction to or collusion with. If you react to, or if you're in collusion with your family system, you'll repeat the parameters of money that exist until you decide, you know what, I really, really would like to have more in my life. What if money were not evil? And that's when the minute you start asking yourself, what if? And you start looking at a different possibility. Now you start rewiring all of that. And so, yeah, you can rewire your money DNA. Think about it this way. If you're given a money opportunity, but you're wired to think money is evil, you won't even see that opportunity coming at you. You will not see it. And in fact, I always say to people, one of my biggest money lessons was going to a casino with my mother-in-law. And we went to go and play. She had a whole jar, and I had a small jar. And I put three coins in, and I hit a jackpot. Small one, but it was a decent sized one. But here's when you get your clashing values and your systemic sentences. I then looked down and realized I'd taken three coins out of her jar by mistake because I was holding both of them. Now, any smart person is going to go, oh, oops, and put the coins in. Not me, because in my family, honesty is everything and honor is everything. So I go over to my mother-in-law and I say to her, hey, this is what happened. I guess the jackpot belongs to you. And she took it. And everybody said to me, oh, she was mean. I said, no. She didn't have an issue with money. I did. Money couldn't have gotten near me if it tried. So you've got to be aware of what you're thinking, feeling, and doing around money or relationships or careers, because what you're doing is creating your own adventure or misadventure.
So then, like for our family, because my grandparents, of course, had a big family, they were 11 kids.
11,
Yeah.
yeah. 11.
Whoa.
Yeah, so 11 kids. So, right, money was tight and those kind of things. And then as my grandmother, and then, so there was always that lack, I suppose. And so then that's probably where some of my fear, I guess, around money, I'm switching it a little bit more as age, because I know that that's not the truth for me anyways.
Right.
So, but that's probably where that stems from, is because I kind of watched that and experienced it.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm going to explain to you how that happens. So, what people don't always understand is you have more than one nervous system. You have your nervous system, but you've got the multi-generational nervous system, and you key into that. So along comes money, and it's a trigger for you, and you key into the multi-generational nervous system around money, and all of a sudden you've got these feelings, and you don't know why you're so nervous, but you're really nervous around money. That's why you've keyed into that one. If you were to look at money and say to it, you know what? I really love you. You're a great friend. I'm learning to invest wisely. I'd love to talk to you. Let's kind of get closer. You'll find that suddenly, instead of the fear switching on, you're starting to look for the opportunities, which means you're not keyed into the multi-generational money DNA. You're square, fair and square on your own path, and you're starting to lean into what's possible. Because the minute you individuate from that, you can shift into the other one.
Like that. Definitely like that. Because I think so often we do take these things, right? And we don't know how to shift them and change them. And we just feel we're stuck and we're, kind of on that hamster wheel of life and there is no getting off of it. So that's very hopeful with what you say. And, so like you said, asking yourself those questions, I think is a really good way to start. Is Should
And
people
also not,
journal about it or like write
yes,
it down?
journaling's great. And also not be afraid to do better than your parents. It's really important. So often kids are afraid to do better than their parents. And in fact, the whole system is pushing them forward and saying, move. Your parents have given you everything they know how to, so you can move. So looking backwards helps nobody. Journaling, really important. Noticing your thoughts and asking yourself, is that still true? Is that still true in my family? If it's not, what am I doing? That doesn't belong on my plate anymore, and putting it down.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Okay,
that
makes
makes
sense.
sense.
Does make sense, a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Disposing of it forever.
Well,
Well, yeah,
sorry.
sorry. It's also taking the wisdom of your parents. So what did I learn from them and what do I want to take? But what really needs to stop because I've got to change and do something a little different. And interestingly enough, often when children do, parents learn. So it's not that parents teach children, it's that children also teach parents. And if we keep that switched up, it really helps us.
Yeah. And I find that like really watching what you're saying because I am constantly harping at my family because it's well, because they say things with money, right? And it's like, we're so broke. I'm like, stop saying that. Like,
No,
hey, you're putting it out there into the universe. And like I do, I think everything that we say, our bodies hear us, our surroundings hear us, and that's what you're creating into your life. And I don't want that. So,
you're absolutely right, because if you keep saying that, nothing else can be true.
That's right.
Yeah, and if you keep saying that, your body absolutely feels it. You may not notice it immediately, but if you pay attention, you'll suddenly find you're slightly tight in your chest or you're holding your, yeah, don't do that. Words have power. People don't realize that. And they will often challenge me on that and say they don't really. And I say, really? Walk into a doctor's office and here you have 4 months to live and tell me words don't have power. Walk into a doctor's office and the doctor says you're in remission. One sentence. So words have all the power, and your body, you're right. Your brain is listening to it, and it's telling the heart and the gut. And when those three are aligned and they go, we agree, well, now you've just done what I call self-spell casting. I'm stupid. My heart feels it. My gut feels it. Yeah, okay.
mhm. Yes, that's exactly right. Like it's kind of a funny story, but it's along those lines is so I am sick now, but I usually do not say I'm getting sick. What I say is I only have time to be well. So my granddaughter and I were talking one day and I said, "Oh, I actually think I'm getting sick." She goes, "No, no, you only have time to be well." I said, No, I actually think I'm getting sick. She's look, because then, right, she likes to give me back what I have said. And
Of course.
then I got sick. And then she said, you did that to yourself.
And she's
I
right.
said, yes, I know.
And it's a beast because when you realize what you are doing, well, then you can't blame anybody else.
Yes, exactly. So, just, and I wanted to use that example because, before we got on, I was telling you, I don't get sick very often. And I do believe that's part of the reason why, because I just don't make space for it in my life.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like when you're bringing, you're trying to change these money things and stuff, if you make space in your life for the money to come to you or for you to, be a good investor or what have you, then that's how you start
Exactly.
fixing
You
the,
start teaching yourself. Exactly right. Well, I'll tell you one that I did, and I went, so when I started the work, of course, I wanted somebody to teach me, but the work that I do, I knew. Nobody else knew. So I had to sort of do the manuals, create all the bits and pieces. I never wanted to write a book and then wound up with two, with the third coming.
I was
But
going to say,
when I was
none of us.
doing the manuals, I would get into a horrible space and I go, I can't do this. I'm an imposter. I don't know what I'm doing. I know the cats would go out the one door and the family would go out the other door, and it was like, ah, and I'd really work myself up and I'd eventually get there. But I mean, lose 5 pounds, lose sleep, you name it, whatever it was. And then and then people started saying to me, your manuals are really good. And I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. I know what my story is. My story is I don't do good manuals. And I think I got to about the eighth manual and I sat down to write. I was like, oh. And then this other voice said, are we going to play that game again? And I went, what? Are we going to play the game of the manuals again? And I thought about it and I went, oh, yeah, maybe I do know what I'm doing. I have to stop that. But it took thinking about it because I had told myself like you did. I had told myself the story and myself said, well, all right then.
yes, yes. So is that why we sometimes get like stressed out because we put these thoughts into our mind about whatever, and then we kind of let it take its own driving seat, so to speak?
Oh no, we put it in gear and it just takes off down the road and then we feed it all the junk we can so that it has lots of energy to keep on going. Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
So what's the first step that somebody could take then? I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what's the first step somebody that could take if they want to shift their DNA to bring whatever it is into their life, health, money, whatever it is?
Well, let's take money. What you want to do is you want to find yourself a nice quiet spot or not. Some people enjoy the noise, but put yourself in a space where you can sit with a book and write down all your thoughts about money, all your feelings about money, all your actions that you take around money or don't take around money. And then when did that start for you? What was happening in your life at the time? What did you make it mean about you? What did you make it mean about others? That tells you what wants to stop. Where do you feel stuck is the other question. Then ask yourself, how would I like to feel about money? How would I like to think about money? What would I like to do around money? When did the idea of changing start for me? What was happening in my life at the time? And how do I want this to be? Now you've got what's trying to start. So you've got stop and you've got start. If you look at stop, you'll see it probably goes back through your genealogy. And if you look at start, it's you and what you're going to create. So you're the change agent. And that's what you want to do. In fact, the work that I do is what I call genealogy 3.0. So genealogy 1.0, you know exactly where you belong in the family system. Genealogy 2.0, what are the events in your family system that were really important to you or to whoever it was? And then genealogy 3.0. So how does that affect me now? So you actually have the 3 iterations. And once you start understanding that 1.0 and 2.0 do not govern 3.0, all 3 line up, and you discover that your ancestry is far more than just, oh, I belong in that family. It's all of this stuff. People who love ancestry, it's all of this.
Yeah, that's interesting. So then if you make changes in your life, if I heard you correctly earlier, then you can actually impact the lives around you of your family and such.
Absolutely. You're changing your DNA both going, or your emotional DNA both going forward and backwards. Think of it this way. You think your grandmother was a terrible person. And then suddenly we zoom out and we see what happened to her. Because once upon a time, she was a kid too. And suddenly we see that she had a really, really hard time. And as you're changing your thoughts and your feelings and your actions, you're looking at her and suddenly she's no longer the terrible person. She's the survivor that nobody's ever thought to thank. She's actually a little bit of a hero when you look at her. And so what you do is instead of being angry at your grandmother, suddenly there's a compassion and insight. Well, your compassion and insight then also starts to shift to your kids. And suddenly they look at you and they say, Mom's not impatient anymore. Well, I guess I'm not impatient anymore either. If Mom can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So then when you do this deep dive, I guess, of writing everything down, then I would assume that you would just start taking action steps then with this.
You would. So what you want to do is what is one new thought that you can think? What is one new feeling that you can feel? What is one new action that you can take? It's one at a time. And it's not just that one new thought, feeling, action changes everything. It begins the process. Now, if you couple that then to constellations or systemic work in constellations, constellations is the 3D version of what I'm talking about. So you would then take pieces of paper, perhaps, and or a chess set. I love chess sets. You can put down, here's mom, here's dad, here's grandma, here's grandpa, here's grandma and grandpa on the other side, and start to actually look at all of this and see how it happened. What happened to you? What happened to the family as a result? What do you want to do? So not only are you looking at it in 3D, but you can then place a goal at the other end of the chessboard and start telling yourself a different story. So a different thought and move it a block, a different feeling and move it a block, a different action and move it a block. And then all of a sudden you're heading in the direction of your goal. Because once you couple that to a really elevated emotion and a strong elevated emotion, it bypasses all of those excuses for staying stuck. And bingo, you're off to the races.
Perfect. I like that. So I have heard in the past that it takes like 21 days to create a new habit. So is that kind of what you would do then is you would take these new thoughts and put them in, or do they sometimes take longer depending on how?
Okay, so I'm going to talk to you about that because everybody has the 21 days, the 35 days, the 92 days, whatever it looks like. Here's the secret sauce. You have to commit to it. You can't just make it a head game and you can't just make it a writing game. That will get you nowhere. You've got to be really clear that you want to shift and really clear about where you want to shift to. You don't have to have the whole picture, but if you say, I don't want to be broke anymore, I'd like to get to where I'm not living paycheck to paycheck, then you've got to commit to going there. That means you've got to do the thoughts. You've got to feel the feelings. You've got to take the actions because that's what makes the difference. When you see people have these dramatic shifts, they've completely invested in what they're saying and they're very clear that they're going there. There is no if, maybe, but, because they're going there. And when you're that committed and you keep that elevated emotion and you stay with it, then yes, it can take you 21 days. I can tell you that when you do a constellation, which is that 3D process, if I work with someone, and it depends, again, depends on the person, but that pattern can shift in 2 hours.
Wow.
And the minute the pattern shifts, you're not going to think the same things.
Wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
So then what would you do about like the negative Nellies that are around you, chirping in your ear, telling you, you can't do this, you can't, is it just you stay focused to what your new beliefs are and you just sort of drown them out? Or how do you kind of, because sometimes we take on what other people say around us.
Yes, we do. And also, there are those little inner voices, right? Which, by the way, are actually not just inner voices, they're multi-generational voices. Those are often the voices of your ancestors, all the warnings that are coming out. So the first thing you do is zip it. Don't tell people what you're doing. People love to go. Don't forget, we were raised and still are raised in the deep, dark ages of you can't, you shan't, you won't, you mustn't, you're stupid, there's no way, and all of those. We're taught. You're born into, I am a sinner, I'm born in sin, I'm going to die in sin. Good luck. I hope you die well and get seat 34 at the top. Shh. Decide or choose what you're going to do. Commit to it, because guess what? You have nothing to lose. And then go for it. And very quietly start to watch the differences or the things happening around you. People may say things to you, but you're going to find they won't land the same way. People may want to pull you off, and you're going to say to yourself, no, you've got to be excited about what it is that you're going for. So that's important. If you stay excited about what it is that you're going for, nobody's going to pull you off. It's like when your mother said to you, you're not allowed to go and do, and you knew you were going to go and do. Nobody was going to pull you off that path. You did that. You kept quiet and you kept focused and you did it. Same thing. But remember, you've got to have elevated emotion with it, not fake either. It's got to be super exciting for you. The more exciting it is, and it doesn't have to be, it could be a quiet, gentle, exciting. But if you're excited and invested, you will get there.
That's good news. That's my mind's in overdrive right at the moment because I'm just
Mine too.
all these different areas of my life where I'm like, oh, okay, maybe that's why I'm stuck. Okay, I do journal, but I'm like, oh, I need to do some deep dive journaling apparently. So
Me too.
And yes, start creating goals that are really things that you want. It could be peace. I don't care what it is, but invest in that. I always tell people one of my goals was when I came over to the US, I went to Disney World and I looked at all of these people coming out of the resort, and I thought, one day I want timeshare there and I want to be those people. So I started an envelope. And anytime I got a little extra, it went in. Didn't think about it, it went in. And I thought, that's a lot of money. You really think you're going to do it? Ha, ha, ha. But we're doing it anyway. And I would think about how it would feel. And I could see it and I could imagine it. And couple of years on, my brother said to me, I'm coming over. We're going to come over. We want to go to Disney. And I said, all right, I think I can help with the accommodation. And so I went and had a look in the envelope and realized that I had enough money for the down payment on the timeshare.
Wow.
And it happened. But I stayed focused on that, even though it was in the back of my mind.
right.
I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I about had a heart attack when I put the down payment on, and all the voices are going, you know what you could have done with that money? You could have done something else. And was like, no, that's what that was there for. I made myself a promise. That's where it's going. And now we go every other year for 2 weeks, and it's awesome.
Wonderful. Well, which makes me think like when we do vision boards, because I'm a big vision board person. So, which makes
Yep,
me,
mine's over there.
yeah, with what you're saying is, that's probably some of the reason sometimes vision boards don't work is we're putting things on there and we're like oh, I really want this, but yeah, like I'm never gonna go there and I'm never,
Exactly.
right? So we
Exactly.
block ourselves right in the moment that we're creating that.
Exactly right. So what it is you want to look at that and go, I'm doing that. Because when you say I'm doing that, it is present tense and it's active.
Yeah.
I'm doing that. By the way, I have vision boards and done boards. So I have a vision board, and then when something happens off the vision board, I take it over and I put it on the done board because that way
Yeah,
you can keep watching yourself making progress.
Oh, I
good
like
idea.
that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Very good idea.
Well, we
Yeah,
and
no,
we
you don't want to say that I want to do that, but it's never going to happen. No, you killed it.
Yeah, because I find so many people, and myself in particular, like I can look at my vision board and then I'll see something, or I get frustrated because I'm like, ugh, I put that on, but that's not happening. And it's like,
Right.
okay, but what steps are you taking to make that happen? How excited are you about that happening? You want to lose some weight and eat healthier. Are you filling your fridge with fresh vegetables, or are you just eating crap? Or, are you moving your body, or are you just sitting on the couch being excited?
Exactly. But anything that you want can go on that vision board. I'm laughing as I think about it now because I've got one that I haven't migrated yet. And it just struck me now. I said years ago, and it's on the vision board, I want to fly in a private jet. Earlier on this year, I'm an executive coach as well. So earlier on this year, somebody said to me, I need you down in this particular place that I was coaching. And I said, okay, I'm going to have to drive up to Dallas and then I'll hop on the plane and come on down. And the person said to me, no, 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 that's going to take too much time. I'll send the jet for you. And
Wow.
did. And it was amazing. And I just realized I haven't migrated that yet.
See? There, that's good. Now you can. Well,
I
I know
can.
Mom and I do every year we do 101 wish list and
Ooh,
at the beginning of the year. And then what I like to do is like once a month, I kind of stick it in my journal and then once a month or when the whatever things, I like to read it back and just like it's amazing sometimes because you're like, oh, that happened, that
Yeah,
happened, that happened. Check off.
exactly.
And the more that you see happening, the more excited you get, right? So you elevate that vibration of yours.
And it
that's
builds the
true.
winner effect. Sorry, Mom, you were saying?
No, that's very true. It does. It's exciting when you go through it and you see how many times it changed because it was your wish at the beginning. It's like, yes, another one I can accomplish, right?
It's so see, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You're doing it, just not realizing it. You've got your adventure planned and you've set it out and you're doing your adventures. And if you start doing those consciously, which is not forcing, but
Right.
holding exactly what you said, which is here's my 101 wishes. Let's see how much we do with that. You are surprised by what you can do. I do that every year with money envelopes. There are two things that I do. One is I mark the year and then I write down, it's 2025 coming up, and then I wait to see what money comes in unexpectedly, completely unexpectedly. And that all goes in, and then I count it up at the end of the year. And it's always every year it increases. Every year it increases. So there's that. And then the other thing that I created when I was teaching money DNA was, the books you get with business card holder spaces?
Mhm.
I saw this. I actually saw it on a morning show, and I did a version of that. So credit to whoever that was. And what you do is you label it from 1 to 100. And the first day you put in 1, the second day you put in 2, or however many days it is you want. But by the time you've put in 100, you've got 5,050, whatever it is, Canadian dollars, American dollars. And what it does is not only do you see yourself putting the money in, but you're interacting with money. So now you and money are having a conversation, and it gives you this nice kind of excited feeling too. So like you said, you're watching him going tick, 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 and it's awesome.
That's amazing. I like that.
And I do too.
Yeah, because I think that's the thing, right? Is we so often just think all these things are out of our reach, and really they're not when we, I think the biggest thing is when we attach the fear to them. That's where we start getting ourselves put in a little bit of a stuck spot.
I
Yeah,
think so. I think it's when we attach the fear and when we see ourselves as small.
Yeah.
When we start to do what you did, which is your 101 wishes, you're making yourself bigger. And that's who we were meant to be. We're not supposed to be small.
Yeah, I agree with that.
right. I agree. Yeah, totally agree with that.
Yes, I'm going to have all new projects for 2025 coming in.
Yeah, I think we are. I have to
Which,
put all sorts of things in place.
well, I think it would help like in so many different areas of your life, right? Like even with your business and what you want to achieve into the new year and those kind of things. If you're like, I know this year, like last year, I did a personal, I don't know if you did a personal vision board, but I did a personal vision board, but then we did a business vision board as well together because it was like we want to see our business grow, so we both need to have it in there. And then we had it in the office where we often do the podcast together. And we could look at it every time. So I liked that you have that option to do those things.
Yeah, because you're reinforcing it as well and growing it. And yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have to do that again this year.
Yes, we will.
So
Another
and
project.
you said you have a new book coming out. So when is your new book coming out?
The new book's about to be written. So let me be
Oh,
very honest about it, but it will be around money.
okay.
Yeah,
Very
because so many people have asked about that. And I made money a promise a while ago that I would write about it in a way that people could make friends with it, because it is a very friendly force. It's a good mentor, it's a great guide, but it's a very friendly force that gets a very bad rap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
True.
would agree with that. And I think so many people, because like we were talking a little bit before this, is like right now the world is so chaotic. So I think around money, people have a lot of fear and people are, I don't know, their minds are just getting, I think, smaller because it's like, what if all this chaos impacts me?
Right.
And part of the thing is, we have no control over some of that stuff. So we may as well just go out and get what we want out of life, right? And not let it
True.
control us and just let the situation be as it is.
We have a lot of control over ourselves. And I think that's exactly what you're saying is start there. Don't be too small. Don't be too scared. Really do the very best that you can do. And that I think that takes away a lot of the fear.
Mhm. Yeah, I would
True.
think so too. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So what's new for you in the new year besides your book?
What I think in the new year, I will probably teach a live class round about mid-year, and of course the new book. And then my favorite, which is the Disney event. I haven't decided what I'm teaching this year, but it'll be one of the DNAs. I've done fear DNA, I've done money DNA, I've done relationship DNA. So it'll be one of those. And that happens at Disney World, usually October, November.
Oh, nice.
And people come from all over and they come and do the class there. And so we work hard during the day and we play hard during the night. And it's lovely.
That sounds wonderful.
And what else? Yep, projects in the wings. I definitely am looking to, with live events, I'd like to go very, very big. I've had that on my sort of radar for a while, and it's getting it to that space. I probably will also do, because in addition to the books, I do meditations. I've done 2. So I don't know if you know Joe Dispenza.
Mhm.
Okay, the person who composes for him is the person who composes for me. And so I lay down, I go to his studio, we lay down the track, so I speak, and then he composes around that. And yeah, I think we may just get to do another one this year, which I would enjoy. Next year, not this year, which would be good.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, it sounds like you'll be very busy. So busy is always good when you're loving what you're doing, right? So I think,
I'm super lucky. I really do love what I do. I have the most amazing clients, and then I love doing this work.
yes.
Oh,
Well, and we're so grateful that you could come on, and maybe one time you'd come on and do a live or something with us where people could actually ask some questions about these things.
The answer is absolutely yes. All you've got to do is get in touch with Angela, and the answer is yes.
Wonderful.
oh, thank you.
Wonderful.
That's
And yes,
inspiring.
absolutely. I think that would be amazing. So, because that's kind of where we're shifting, like some of where our focus is going to be shifting into the new year. So, can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, they can find me just about anywhere they look. Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. What else have we got? My website, judywilkins-smith.com. Via my books, I am pretty good at responding to people unless and it becomes a barrage, and then you're going to just have to hold on a little while, because when it gets busy, I don't even know what day of the week it is.
That is very fair. And your books are on Amazon and
Amazon Kindle, they are available at Barnes and Noble. I believe one of them at least is available at Walmart. The Decoding Your Emotional Blueprint was that was featured in Psychology Today as a book to read, and then Goodreads made it a must read. And there was I always get this wrong. Publishers Weekly. Is it Publishers Weekly? It's the big one. I forget what it is, but it's also a must read. They'll kill me. I nearly said Publishers Clearinghouse, but it's not them.
that's amazing. So, if you could leave a final thought with the followers, what would be your final thought?
I would say to people, don't be so sure that you're small. You're not. Don't think that you're stuck. You're not. You simply have to know how to look at your life. And if you start investing in it, if you start committing to your dreams, not your fears, then a year from now, I expect, in fact, not even a year, 11 months from now, I expect you will be bouncing into my event at Disney World and coming to tell me all about what happened when you stopped fearing and started adventuring.
Love it.
Good
Absolutely.
deal. That's a good deal.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it. And like I said, I'm sure our followers' minds will be exploding with all kinds of ideas because I know mine is. So, and mom,
I hope so. I hope you're all exploding with tons of ideas. And if anybody is into genealogy, this is going to blow your mind.
well, thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah,
excited.
thank
I'm
you.
excited to read the rest of your book. And yeah, thanks for being with us.
Thank you
Yeah,
both for having me. It was such fun.
Yes.
it was such fun. It was. Thank you. You're so smart and so much information is beautiful.
Thank you.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
And everybody else, we'll see you the next time.
You bet you will.